Chapter 8. The Master of the House.
As the day of Herr Sesam's expected arrival approached, Fraulein Rottenmeier determined to improve Heidi's wardrobe with some of Clara's hand-me-down clothing. The housekeeper went to Heidi's closet to examine the things she already had and to decide what should be kept and what disposed of. But a few moments later, she came into the library looking very disgusted.
"What a discovery I have made! Adelheid,"
she exclaimed.
"in your clothes closet, what do I find? A pile of rolls tied up in a shawl. Tinette,
She then called into the dining room.
take away the old bread in Adelheid's closet and that crushed straw hat on the bed table."
"No, no!" screamed Heidi. "I must have the hat, and the rolls are for the grandmother." Heidi was about to rush after Tinette, but the housekeeper held her back. Heidi threw herself down by Clara's chair and began to cry in despair. "Now the grandmother won't have any rolls. They were for the grandmother. Now she won't have any."
"Heidi, please don't cry.
Clara begged.
You shall have as many rolls as you wish, I promise."
"As many as I had saved up?"
Even more, and they'll be soft, fresh ones. Those had gone hard. They wouldn't have been any good.
Although Clara's promise comforted Heidi, she still had red eyes when she appeared at the dinner table. Sebastian kept making the most meaningful gestures whenever he came near Heidi. He would wink as if to make her understand.
Be comforted. I have looked out for everything and made it all right.
A little later, when Heidi went to her room and was about to get into bed, she found her little crumpled straw hat hidden under the bedspread. Tenderly, Heidi smoothed out its bent brim and tucked it away in the back of her closet. A few days later, Heidi and Clara were sitting in Clara's room looking at a picture book when they heard carriage wheels clattering on the cobblestones outside. A few minutes later, Herr Sesamin walked into the room.
"Papa!"
Clara cried, holding out her arms. Heidi walked to the far side of the room and waited quietly while father and daughter kissed. Then Herr Sesamin turned and held out his hand to Heidi.
And this is our little Swiss girl? Are you happy here, my dear? Are you and Clara good friends?
"Clara is always good to me," Heidi replied.
"Heidi makes me very happy, Papa,"
Clara said quickly.
I'm glad to hear it. Now I must have some lunch. I'll be back to talk after I've eaten."
In the dining room, Fraulein Rottenmeier was waiting with a sour look on her face.
"I am sorry to report, Herr Sesamin, that our little visitor had filled the house with strange people and animals in your absence. The creature's conduct is past understanding. I am afraid she may be out of her mind."
Good heavens! And yet Clara seemed very lively.
Herr Sesamin looked at the housekeeper very closely, as if he wanted to assure himself that the matter was truly serious and not the product of the woman's imagination.
Pray excuse me.
He said.
I must speak to Clara about this matter.
In the library, he found the two friends chatting and giggling. Herr Sesamin turned toward Heidi and said,
Look here, bring me...
Herr Sesamin did not exactly know what he wanted, but he wished to send Heidi away for a little while.
Bring me a glass of water, please,
he said. Heidi disappeared.
Now, my dear Clara,
said her papa.
Do you want me to send Heidi away?
No, no, Papa, don't do that,
Clara begged.
We have so much fun and time goes so quickly now that she is here.
Very good, Clara. And here comes your little friend back again. Thank you, child. Now, I have a surprise for you both. I must go back to Paris next week, but Grandmama will be coming for a nice long visit.
Before Herr Sesamin left, he informed the housekeeper that Heidi was to be treated kindly, and that if she could not deal with the child alone, that Frau Sesemann, his mother, would certainly manage. A week later, when a carriage stopped at the front door, Fräulein Rottenmeier sent Heidi up to her room.
Frau Sesemann will want to see Clara first,
She explained, but moments later, the maid Tinette rapped at Heidi's door.
Go into the library.
She said in her sharp way. Clara's grandmother was sitting in a low chair with her feet on a little stool. Heidi went to her and took the soft white hand that was held out to her. Frau Sesemann had lovely white hair, crowned by a lacy white cap.
What is your name, child?
She asked. My name is Heidi, but if I must be called Adelheid, I'll answer to that.
Frau Sesemann will doubtless admit
Broke in Fräulein Rottenmeier.
that I had to choose a name which could be pronounced without so much difficulty by the servants. My dear Rottenmeier,
Replied Frau Sesemann.
if a person is named Heidi, I will call her so. Now please fetch the parcel on my bed. I have brought some books for Heidi.
The housekeeper sniffed.
Books will do her no good. She does not even know her alphabet. If Herr Candidat did not possess the patience of an angel from heaven, he would long ago have given up trying to teach her.
As the housekeeper left the room, Frau Sesemann asked,
Is this true, Heidi? Can't you read?
Heidi sighed. No, madam. Peter says reading is too difficult, so I knew I wouldn't be able to.
Firstly, this Peter sounds like a very strange person. And secondly, you must call me Grandmama. Never mind, we will soon have you reading.
From that day on, while Clara was resting, Heidi spent every afternoon in the library with Frau Sesemann looking through beautiful storybooks. One day, she found a picture of a green meadow. 2 frisky goats frolicked beside a boy who stood leaning on his stick. Suddenly, tears flowed down the little girl's cheeks.
What is it, child?
Asked the grandmama worriedly.
Don't cry. The picture made you remember something. As soon as you have learned to read, you shall have that book for your own, and you will learn the whole story of the shepherd and his goats. You would like that, wouldn't you, Heidi?
Heidi nodded, still sobbing. She felt she could not tell the grandmama how she longed for the mountains and her grandfather. Fräulein Rottenmeier had warned her that Clara and Herr Sesemann would think her ungrateful if she complained and asked to go home.
My dear, I've noticed that you seem unhappy sometimes.
The grandmama said.
If you cannot tell anyone what your trouble is, it is a good idea to ask God for help.
I'll pray tonight, Heidi promised. She would ask God to send her home to the Alm, she decided. Questions. 1. How did the housekeeper try to improve Heidi's wardrobe? 2. What did the housekeeper discover in Heidi's closet? 3. Who put the crushed straw hat under the bedspread in Heidi's room? 4. Where did Heidi hide her crumpled straw hat later? 5. Did the housekeeper speak ill of Heidi when she talked with her master? 6. Did Clara want Heidi to be sent away? 7. What was the surprise the father had for Clara and Heidi? 8. What did the master inform the housekeeper before he left for Paris? 9. How did Clara's grandmother treat Heidi? 10. What made Heidi cry when she looked through a beautiful storybook with Grandmama?